between Zach Stern and Caleb Scherer, your number 4 and number 5 overall seeds. Zach will be on the play with his White Red Humans deck. And as we do get results coming in, we'll of course let you know just how everything is going. So it'll be fun to watch here. These are the 2 innovative decks in the top 8. Everything else, Mardu vehicles, of course, Black Grindillion, we've seen before. Because here's an Inspiring Vantage and a Town Gossip Monger to get our quarterfinals started. For Caleb Scherer, it's a basic swamp, and he'll simply just pass the turn back over to Zach Stern. Stern will draw a card. He's got a basic Plains, and now this is not our crop captain. It's a new one from Amonkhet, so we certainly do take a look at the new human. Now this is a deck here, as there is a copy of Fatal Push that it's a 3-2. I'll go over this first. Whenever Honor Crop Captain attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. But when we were kind of looking at cards from Amonkhet and how they're going to affect things, people were looking at how 4 Colors of Healing was going to get better, how Mardu Vehicles was going to get better, how Black Room was going to get better. Not so much about humans, but this is a good addition.
So the concern, I think a lot of people had this for humans deck, is a lot of the humans decks that we've seen are basically mono white, just touching a little bit of red for sideboard cards. Zach Stern has gone in a different direction this weekend. He's playing with actual basic mountain, 22 lands in the main deck. He is a certifiable white-red deck. And so that makes casting red 2-drops a lot easier. And I think this card on rate definitely belongs in a deck that's trying to flood the battlefield with a lot of cheap creatures.
That's a Anwar Garrison here from Zach Stern, who simply passes the turn back after attacking with an Incited Rabble. Of course, the Scrap Heap Scrounger that cannot block. So we head back over to Caleb, who's got a 3rd land. It's a swamp. We'll see where Scherer likes to go to next.
The tough thing about this matchup from Scheer's side is I think he has to be the control deck. Because he has a lot of removal, and because his best cards in the matchup are things like Walking Ballista, he kind of has to drag the game out a little bit. And clearly, so many of his cards just don't work that way.
Walking Ballista for 0 into Bone Picker into another Scrounger means that he's trying to get very aggressive.
Right. This draw from Stern, if Scherer doesn't have removal spells, he's just forced to race. And being on the draw and racing with inferior tools is going to be really tricky.
Life total currently favoring Caleb, 18-17. We'll see what Zach Stern is up to. As he's going to attack here with the Incited Rabble, with the Garrison, and that means some human tokens will come along as well, assuming Zach does remember the trigger. And there they are. Bone Picker looks like it would like to trade with the Hanwar Garrison. And because it has Death Touch and the appropriate power, it's going to be pretty easy for that to occur. 4 damage will come across, no pumps on the Incited Rabble. Now here's another Crop Captain and a 3 of an Inspector. You can see exactly what both of these decks realistically are trying to do, which is just to flood the battlefield.
Yeah, Stern is playing with the higher quality threats. Scherer gets better removal.
For Caleb, it's an attack with the Scrap Heap Scroungers. Zach Stern, no interest in blocking. He'll fall down to 11. And you see the Liliana that is in Caleb's hand. It's a little bit late to the party this game. Zach has really done a nice job of flooding the battlefield to make Liliana the last hope. Not all that backbreaking.
And if he can't kill this Crop Captain, that's a lot of damage coming back.
It is. You can see the hand there of a Walking Ballista, Liliana, and don't have a great look at the other card. It might be a Glint Sleeve Siphoner, actually. Here is Liliana. It can pick off a token, or it can make something a little bit smaller. But like you said, it's not all that exciting if it can't take care of the Crop Captain, and it can't right now. So there goes one of the tokens. We're looking at a healthy amount of damage here, and maybe too much to handle, especially if Zach Stern's able to find a copy of Thalia's Lieutenant. He'll draw a card. It's a copy of Aether Hub that he's already got in his hand. See what else he's got with the hub, as he'll play the Aether Hub and get himself an energy. And of course, the Jacob Ball Energy Reserve token making an appearance. Stern will sacrifice his Max McVitie clue token, maybe. Right now, if Zach were to use all of his mana and all of his tools without doing anything else, he could attack for 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus 2 pumps with the Gossip Monger if he wanted.
So short of lethal.
Yep, could be 12. Well, Thalia's Lieutenant's going to make it, I think, more than enough.
Yeah. This seems like it should be good.
Yeah.
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, a little surprised. Just I think making sure that the math is correct there. It took a little bit longer, I think, than expected to see him cast that card. But it's always good to double check and make sure it's good for the W. And it is, as Zach Stern's going to win game number 1 here over Caleb Scherer. White-red humans up a game here over mono-black aggro. Pretty straightforward stuff.
Yeah, Scherer unfortunately was boxed into this weird draw of he couldn't really play defense because he didn't have removal. He had to that much removal. He had to play offense because of the Scroungers kind of forced him into that role, and being on the draw and just working with inferior tools to Stern just quickly run over there.
Well, well, well. We're going to take a look at the sideboards here. We're going to start with, actually, we'll start with Caleb, excuse me, who's got 4 Gifted Aetherborn, 4 Scarab Feast, 3 Harsh Scrutiny, 3 Transgress the Mind, and 1 additional copy of Liliana the Last Hope. I have to imagine you at least like the Planeswalker.
I definitely would bring in the extra copy of Liliana, and I think Gifted Aetherborn has the possibility of being good here. Worst case scenario, it trades with something, and in some spots, it's going to be very hard for Star to attack through. That and trading and recurring with Liliana the Last Hope is probably better than any card he has to get back in his main deck. So I think those 5 cards should come in. I wouldn't mess around with the discard spells.
Other side of things here for Zach Stern, you've mentioned so many times how he can go much larger if he'd like with Gideon and Glorybringer. Needle Spires will help to facilitate that as well. He's starting his deck with 22 lands. He can go all the way up to 26 if he'd like. And then Selfless Spirit, I don't think a card he really needs in this matchup.
It's not the most efficient attacking. Most of Scheer's removal is 1-for-1, so giving Indestructible isn't that great. And with Scherer having so many copies of Liliana the Last Hope, I think Stern should question the 1 toughness creatures in his deck sort of generally.
Those are the options there for both players. Quick update for you as well. Looks like Ryan McDonough with Mardu Vehicles up a game right now over Brennan DeCandio, who's of course playing Black-Green Delirium. And we can see that Sam Kalla, currently up a game here over Lawrence Vess in a Mardu Vehicles mirror. Sam, the number 3 overall seed. You've got Lawrence as the 6. And then we've got Sean Crum, the number 8 overall seed with Mardu Vehicles, up a game over Andrew Jessup, the number 1 overall seed. That's another Mardu Vehicles mirror. With that, these players will finish sideboarding and shuffling up, and we're going to talk one more time here this weekend about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale. It's going to end on Monday at 10:59 a.m., so if you're looking for some cheap playmats, this is the place to go.
Head over to the website once a week, StarCityGames.com/weekly sale. Every week starting Monday at 11 a.m. there's a new sale. So check back once a week at least to see what goes on. And it's a wide range of stuff, cards, sleeves, sealed products, what have you. Right now for a little bit longer, up to 50% off select playmats.
We prepare here for game number 2 between Zach Stern and Caleb Scherer. Scherer, your number 9 seeded player right now on the SCG Tour leaderboard throughout season number 1, former invitational champion. This is his 5th top 8. But this might be his most impressive one. We've seen him get a lot of work done with Storm in Legacy. But now we see him getting it done with Mono Black Aggro in Standard. Went to the 10-cent bin. That's where he maybe finds all those peanuts, too. He likes to keep it cheap.
Yes.
Maybe he likes to keep it cheap. But a graduate student in mathematics working on differential geometry, lives entirely out of his backpack and die consists, he says, entirely of peanuts for the 28-year-old member of Team Card Hoarder from St. Louis, Missouri. So welcome, welcome, Caleb, back to the top 8 spotlight. Good on him. As we get ready here for game number 2. Mono Black Aggro, White Red Humans. Caleb will be on the play here. See if he can get a turn 3 Liliana the Last Hope, which will certainly play a big role in things for Caleb. And as I did mention, we've got a lot of Mardu Vehicles in the top 8, 5 copies to be exact. A Black-Green Delirium, that's Brennan DeCandio. And then these 2 with their decks. And of course, we'll have a pretty healthy breakdown for you over on the StarCityGames.com coverage page. We'll be doing top 64 deck lists here. Since it is the first weekend of Amonkhet, you'll get top 32 deck lists of both our modern and standard classics to see how Amonkhet did affect those formats as well. It's a Mardu Vehicles world right now, Patrick. Everybody else is just driving in it.
We need to come up with a new name if it's only going to have the one vehicle, though.
Singular, Mardu Vehicle. Fixed it.
So the deck plays one vehicle, and it plays with no vehicle synergies. There's no, or very few people are playing with veteran motorist. There's no start your engines, or there's no card that calls out. It's just Heart of Kieran because you play with a bunch of good 3-power creatures, right?
Yeah.
So we need to come up with a new name.
Mardu Heart of Kieran. Done. Do this all day. Mardu Airship. Mardu Gideon. How's that sound? Mardu Gideon. Someone's gonna find something. This week they didn't find the Torrential Gearhulk deck, but it's there.
I think so too.
It's out there.
A lot of good instants in the new set.
Yeah.
Both for the purposes of flashing back and also just sort of generally building a control deck.
It's out there. Someone's just got to find it. Both players going to lay out their hands here. Looks like Zach might be looking at 6 as opposed to 7. Torrential Gearhulk's just too powerful for it not to be in something. Caleb on the play. It's a Swamp. It's a Dread Wanderer. Card we've seen a lot of here this weekend from Amonkhet, the Zombie Jackal. Inspiring Vantage into 3-man Inspector. Caleb will draw. I think he may have kept one of those one-landers.
It's been doing that a bit.
Only 20 lands in the deck. Sometimes you got to risk it. Hey, look out! Pass the turn back.
Oof.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes you got to grind.
I can agree with that and still question how we got here.
Zach Stern with a 3-man Inspector, a Clue, and just an Inspiring Vantage. Looks like he does have a second land. Might be the Needle Spires. It's going to be in a hub, actually. Get himself an energy, and now there's a Thalia's Lieutenant. Inspector's a 2-3 out getting in. Let's say that could have just been the roadblock game over.
So missing the second land drop there, obviously important just on face value, and then very good for Stern because it means there's no threat of Liliana on curve. Mm-hmm. And so if he has a hand full of one-toughness creatures, he can just sort of play it and be fine.
Fatal Push will take care of Thalia's Lieutenant, and these creatures will come across here for 4 total damage. Zern's going to fall down to 14, and Scherer will move up to 19.
By the way, I'm not a huge fan of that attack from the 3-man Inspector last turn, both because I don't really want to get in a damage race right now if I'm Stern. The race is bad if he has an answer to the Thalia's Lieutenant. And also, your deck is really well set up if the game goes long.
Yeah, I would rather just kind of roadblock him a little bit and just play more turns, personally.
If Scherer draws a land here and has something like Grasp of Darkness for your Garrison, you take 4 again.
Mm-hmm. Here come the beatdowns. Will Garrison block?
So the only thing that Scherer can have here is that stupid bird, right? That's the only thing that justifies this attack.
Why's it got to be a stupid bird? Why can't Bone Picker be a smart bird? Aren't vultures smart? I think it's a vulture.
And no play.
Nope, just a Fatal Push in hand. The one-lander did not get there this time, it looks like.
I don't even know what getting there looks like. Like if he draws land number 2 and then what is he casting?
Grasp of Darkness. Scrap Heap Scrounger.
I hate to be pessimistic about it. I was ready to call it a 3-man Inspector. Yeah. Just like that's too much.
I was ready to call it when it became a 2-3.
That, by the way, if you're curious, what would be my apprehension about playing with 1/1s for 1? It's not Gideon Allied Zendikar. It's not Torrential Gearhulk. It's not the Sweepers. It's 3-man Inspector. It's prevalent, and that's just a hard card for your beatdown deck to beat.
Well, there's another 3-man Inspector, and now a Glorybound Initiate. It's probably time to fire out this Fatal Push. It's going to take care of Glorybound Initiate. It's not going to be easy for either of these creatures to get through 3-man Inspector, though. Unless you find a land. Instead, it was a Walking Ballista. And all Caleb Scherer can do is pass the turn back over to Zach Stern, who will draw a card. He is in the driver's seat right now, it appears. I think he may have just drawn a copy of Gideon ally of Zendikar, second energy here from Ether Hub, entering the battlefield.
Ooh, emblem plus the garrison that is nice.
Your thoughts? Here is
That's
an emblem.
nice.
Yep. Should I say, is that a...
It's a combo.
It's a combo, yeah. It's a member of Combo Nation.
Glorious Anthem plus tokens, still good.
First time I've seen this one. None of these creatures are going to block all that well. Trigger the garrison, make a couple more humans. And we go to see Caleb Scherer extend the hand. Zach Stern going to win this match over Caleb Scherer, 2-0. White-red humans very quickly going to dispatch mono-black aggro. Pretty tough draw there for Caleb. I think he wants to be paired against Mardu vehicles, maybe some sort of delirium strategy you can get underneath. He can't get underneath this one.
The creatures here are just a little bit too good. It forces Scherer into a control role, and the deck with 1/1s for 1, hard to position yourself as a control deck in most matchups.
So it's kind of, Caleb's deck to me is kind of a thought experiment more than anything of, okay, if I go very low and then I have various pieces of removal, what can my deck do?
Yep.
How effective can I be? Well, it took him all the way to top 8 here, and I have to imagine that he beats a Mardu along the way. So as a thought experiment, I think it works. Is this the best way to go about being a low to the ground deck with some removal? We'll see.
Yeah. My concern with decks like this is the absence of a card like Mutavault. There's no way to do anything with your extra mana, and you don't mulligan very well. So you're hoping to draw 3 lands and then stop. Mm-hmm. And when that's part of the recipe, your fail rate just generally is going to be very high. We saw it's not like Caleb drew up that 7-card hand in game number 2 and said, sweet, good to go.
Yep.
It's just I can't afford to go to 6,
no.
Especially post-board when he's bringing in Gideons and Glorybringers and he's just more equipped to wear me out. So he has to keep hands that look that way. People who play decks like Burn or Boggles in Modern, you know that experience of, I got to ride with these hands.
Yep.
And when you combine that with not getting any value off of your extra mana, that means your draw is not going to get off the ground a good percentage of the time. Clearly, that didn't encumber him too much this weekend. He still made the top 8. But what you saw there that's part of the experience.
Next match we go. Let's go down to the feature match area. Get our eyes on our next match, where we're going to watch Brendan DeCandio. He's on your left against Ryan McDonough on your right. McDonough currently up a game with Mardu vehicles. DeCandio, he's your only black-green Delirium player here. And he's got a Manglehorn on the battlefield. Let's make it 2 of them, as one of them is going to block. You can see on McDonough's side, he's got a Nahiri, and he's about to have a Gideon, ally of Zendikar. That looks like it's going to come along with a Knight ally. You see the Scrap Heap Scrounger. And it looks like we're going to head over DeCandio's way. We're working our way into the mid-game here. McDonough's looking pretty sharp right now as we head over to DeCandio. He's at 9 right now. We'll have to do a Delirium check when we can because he does have an Ishkana in his hand. We have seen DeCandio in some trouble before against Mardu vehicles. We're going to see if he can somehow work his way out of it right now. Brennan obviously in some trouble when you're facing down 2 planeswalkers, and now he's going to minus his Liliana. A land, and all right, a never. So he'll play Ishkana. 3 spiders, pass that turn back.
So I'm guessing here he could not get the Manglehorn out of the graveyard because it was necessary for Delirium.
Yeah, I think that's the case. An activation of Nahiri here. Discard and then draw. So there goes the hub. Here's the Spire of Industry. Liliana looks like it's going to bite the dust now, as Fumigate has resolved. And now DeCandio is facing down a board that has 2 planeswalkers. As you saw, Gideon attacked, took care of Liliana. McConaughey's had plenty of life, and I'm not sure how DeCandio gets himself out of this trouble.
Given how these post-board games, I was really surprised that Hunter and Anson have one copy of Fumigate in his sideboard. It feels like building up a board with some Planeswalkers and then getting the game to this spot is such a common experience post-board.
The games do get grindy, no doubt about it. But that's where you kind of see Fumigate be able to clear some things up when you have Planeswalkers. Obviously, Wrath Effects and Planeswalkers are a combo. Here's a Vessel of Nascency. And I think DeCandio is just going to pass the turn back. He knows he's in some trouble. Are we going to go ultimating? All right.
If he goes ultimate here.
I think it might be Glorybringer time.
This is risky, though. I mean, if two of the Slaughters in the equation here.
That'd be really bad for Ryan.
It goes from he can't lose to it's all gone.
Plus attack.
I think he may need to respond to the activation here.
Now keep in mind there is a Scrap Heap Scrounger in the graveyard. Now he's got to really hope he doesn't see the Scrap Heap Scrounger in the graveyard. But this is in response to the Gideon.
This is just so. But even if he sees the Scrounger, this was so.
Greedy's a word.
So greedy.
Greedy's a word I would use. All right, here's the Scrounger. I mean, he's going to get the Gideon regardless, which is nice.
I guess if he's got the other Gideon in hand, it's whatever. This is still.
All right, here comes Glorybringer. DeCandio's going to fall down to 5. And there is another Gideon.
Still made me pretty nervous. I'll put it that way.
Glorybringer goes back to the grip because of Nahiri. So it hides out over there. DeCandio, I believe, has a Noxious Gearhulk. How do those Noxious Gearhulks always get... How are they always chump blocking Gideon? They're here to chump block.
He knows on the table that he can't cast it because if he plays it and he kills the Knight Ally, then McDonald gets to play the Glorybringer that DeCandio knows about.
And kills that.
Kills him.
Yeah.
So he might just have to. He can either crack the Vessel of Nascency and look for some help, or he can keep up appearances and say go. But there's nothing to be gained by casting the Noxious Gearhulk.
Yep, doesn't do much. Well, he'll start by cracking the Vessel. Top couple of cards here. Walking Ballista, Tireless Tracker among them. There's also a land that I don't think is going to save him, and he's going to extend the hand. Ryan McDonough is going to win this match over Brendan DeCandio. 2-0. Mardu Vehicle is going to take care of Black-Green Delirium. And it's a Mardu Vehicles world. We're all just trying to drive along in it. Black-Green Delirium out of the top 8. We're going to move to one more match here in just a moment, but I got to update the bracket. That is in front of me, which means Caleb Scherer, he's gone fishing. He's gone. So that means White-Red Humans is moving along here for Zach Stern. For Sam Kala, he won, which means Lawrence Vess, he gone. That was a Mardu Vehicles mirror match, though, so we knew what was going to happen there. We're going to move along one Mardu Vehicles deck, and then Mardu Vehicles takes care of Brendan DeCandio.
So we have 3 in the top 4 plus White-Red Humans.
Yeah.
Okay.